I just started sharing. Is it visible or?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I thank Dr. Mallika and the entire HOA for this opportunity. It's a lovely program primarily because all of us enjoy cases. And the theme Mallika always puts up cases, cases, and cases, which really encourages to participate. We all know macular surgery is today divided between peelers and non-peelers. And you see, this conference I had attended a couple of years back, and this was a game changer for me at least. And what was told was up to 300 microns peeling may not be required also. And more than that, than 300 microns, you have plethora of options. But believe me, small macular holes, small in any case, we hardly get in practice. So we rarely operate on 200, 300. We get which is more than 1,000 and 1,500 or so. So I still peel sometimes, but more than that, you see, things have changed. We do a lot of flaps because of the size of the holes. And for me, size is not less important as compared to the morphology. You see, if the height is less and the width is more, I always do a flap. And these are my indications of doing flap: large, chronic, persistent, or myopic. I had one failure of macular surgery. Haven't you see, failure also is not very common. So we don't have much collection of failed macular patients also. So this is what all of us used to do. This is. Can you see this video running?
Yeah.
So this, we used to do this scratcher, which we don't do at all nowadays. So I nowadays do direct pinch and peel. The scratcher can sometimes damage the retina also. So in the peel technique, it's always important to take it across. Unlike what Bachu was talking, that in ERMs you don't, but or if the roof is thin, then you don't. But here you try to peel membrane ILM after staining with PBG and take it arcade to arcade, and the results are pretty good.
Thank you.
And this is another surgery which we do nowadays, where after PVD inject this BBG dye and then create this flap. And deliberately, as Rajan was also saying, here we leave behind some crystals there just to take care of inflammation. You see, IVT crystals I deliberately leave behind either within the hole or outside on the surface just to take care of inflammation. So this is the multi-layered flap which has been created. And after you have done this, then you peel off again as much ILF you can from the posterior pole, and the limit is generally arcade to arcade, because you see, in the first go itself you should try to do rather than have a redos done. So, and after you do this, then you trim it with the lowest possible suction, that was 50, and then highest possible cutting, that was 7,000, and trim it to the size of approximately one disc or so. And then you do air fluid exchange and come out of it. So these are the results. You can still see ILM in the upper photograph, which is still adherent to the surface, but morphology has come back. This was nearly 1,500 microns pre-operatively. This was another patient of more than 1,100 or so, reasonably okay result at the end of a couple of weeks. So main aim was to show this video, which the surgery was done at our center only. And after the surgery, the hole was 1,800 microns. So we knew that various options are there. People try retinal graft, lens graft, amniotic membrane, autologous serum. Since we hadn't done anything, so I thought we'll do ILM grafting only. So this is the resurgery done in the same eye, which was done at our center only. Here we have valve cannulas in place. Vitrectomy already had been done, so there's nothing much to show here. You see this large macular hole. I still put this BBG dye because I have to have a graft from somewhere. I did insert this chandelier, hoping that I may require a bimanual surgery to position this graft on the hole. So then we took this diamond dusted and started creating this flap. And once the adequate size of the flap was done, then injected PFCL, because you cannot take this graft and put it there, because it will not, because of the fluidics. So this ILM graft has to be maneuvered under the PFCL, under some heavy liquid only. So this is with the help of diamond dusted itself. So fortunately, this obeyed the command of my hand, and we could. Sorry for this glitch here, because did not see whether it was recording properly or not. So then this, or you can take a non-toothed forceps and maneuver it bimanually. So in this patient, we just glided it across very gently under the cushion of perfluorocarbon liquid. You see the edges of the hole are not good looking, and they are slightly everted also. So let me rush through this. So this graft is placed over the hole, still not reached this destination. So still I thought that it is still not covering, because the hole is very big, and some of the miscalculation was there. So again, you see, I thought I will have another piece of ILM from somewhere, nasal retina, but this would not obey the command which I was wanting it to bring it there. It got stuck to the diamond there, because on the then I took this forceps. This is a card forceps. This was worse, because now the ILM got stuck in between the teeth of the Ecard. So I thought I'll flush it with the PFCL, but it still would not serve the purpose. So ultimately, surgeon should know when should stop. So I stopped here. I thought I will not have another ILM. So this was good enough, whatever I have placed there. So we still tried, but this was not successful. So after this was done, we still got a small piece from the arcade. So after this was done, so PFCL was being removed. This has been done by chandelier. So I learned this technique from Atul Dhawan of Chennai. So this is a BBG stained visco. So couple of drops being placed over that, and simultaneously PFCL, so that I never wanted this graft, precious graft now, which is still stuck there. So that was what I wanted to show here. And this graft is still stuck. There is some PFCL. Now what we are doing is, this video I saw in some Egyptian conference, that you take this 39 gauge needle and create RD, create balloons in two places, so that create it till the edge. You could see that gush of fluid coming, and then do fluid air exchange, taking care that you remain always nasal to the disc and don't venture into the, then remove this chandelier illumination, and suture this also, because it was leaking. This was the post-op result. So this was another small video which, if time permits, I can show, because after this lady, when I, in all patients of retinal detachment, reg RD, I always do an OCT, because I don't want to be caught on the table, because in a bullous RD, sometimes you may miss the macular hole. So we always try and do OCT in all reg RDs also. This was the routine with tetany being done in the VR surgery. And after this, I do a diathermy. And the aim of doing diathermy is, at this stage, after having done most of the vitrectomy, is to inject PFCL, so that the fluid of the posterior pole gets drained out of the iatrogenic diathermy which we have done and whole. So now the posterior pole is flat, because I think it is better to remove ILM in a flat retina than in a detached retina, causing less distortion to the photoreceptors and other things. So then we inject BBG dye, and then do this usual pinch and peel technique. Now I've stopped using diamond dusted. Diamonds are costly in any case. So this create a multi-layered flap in this patient. I'll just rush through it. Nothing great to be shown here. So this multi-layered flap is created, and then there was some PVR epiretinal membrane here. PVR membrane, which again came out reasonably easy. There's nothing much to be shown in this, that except that you went back and do a vitrectomy, complete vitrectomy, taking all those usual precautions, that all the membranes near the base have to be taken care of. This was the final removal of PFCL. Then we filled in oil in this patient. Then laser wherever, all the break areas. This also is unnecessary that you laser 360 degrees, but in this patient we did do because of multiple breaks. And this was the end of surgery. Took out the cannulas and sutured the wound. And this patient did reasonably well. This was the post-op picture. You can see ILM flap here, pre and post being compared here. So just wanted to share these two patients where we did learn something in macular surgery. Thank you very much.